Hello everybody, welcome to Awesome Rusty Bucket. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and drop a like on this video. I'm trying to hit 100k subscribers on this channel, so your subscription would be much appreciated. Also drop a like on this video, it only takes 1 second. It makes a massive difference in how the video performs in the YouTube algorithm. So that happened. Rudy Gobert traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves. By no means is that a move that I was expecting. It's one of those moves that wasn't really on the radar. There were words here or there that potentially the Timberwolves might be in the conversation. It was something interesting to talk about, but by no means did it seem like they were committing to this idea to the level that they committed to it today, because the first thing that stands out when you actually look at this trade is, my God, did the Timberwolves commit to this? They ended up trading the rookie that they just took, Walker Kessler, who's apparently a center kind of in a similar vein to Rudy Gobert. They moved Malik Beasley and Patrick Beverley, as well as Jared Vanderbilt, 3 key role players for that team last year, in being a playoff team for the first time in a long time. And they are sending a 2023, 2025, and 2027 first round pick unprotected, and a top 5 protected 2029 pick to Utah. So first and foremost, that is a lot. When I say that the Timberwolves committed to this, I mean they committed to it. If this does not work out, this is going to blow up in their face monumentally. That said, I also feel like so many people are immediately taking the negative side on this trade just because everybody fucking hates Rudy Gobert for some reason. I mean, I know why some of those reasons exist, but overall, Rudy Gobert is consistently one of the most undervalued players in the NBA, so the fact that there were so many draft picks given away from him, there's a lot of people overreacting and acting like it was some stupid decision. And sure, maybe you would have liked to give up 1 or 2 less picks in this situation, but it wasn't the end of the world. But it also is interesting to see that that offer was on the table, because I was delusional enough to think that the Bulls had a shot at landing Rudy Gobert with a trade package of Patrick Williams, Nikola Vucevic, our draft pick this year, whose name escapes me, at number 18, and a future first round pick. So essentially like 2 first round picks and Patrick Williams and Nikola Vucevic. I thought that was going to be enough to get Rudy Gobert. Lo and behold, the Timberwolves had this Godfather offer. So first side I want to talk about is Utah, because this means that they are committing to a retool around Donovan Mitchell, because all reports would indicate that they have no intention of trading Donovan Mitchell, nor should they. Donovan is not old enough that the idea of shipping both of them really makes any sense to me. It was always one or the other. Like, either you ship Donovan Mitchell to get some superstar like Kevin Durant to put next to Rudy Gobert, or you trade Rudy Gobert in the hopes of being a better team in 3 years based on, navigating your future properly. Now, I was in the minority opinion of I would have just liked to see this team run it back, but simply address their biggest flaws, and neither one of those guys had to be traded to address those flaws, and that was just simply put this Jazz team, give them perimeter defenders. Like, don't have Rudy Gobert do everything defensively. But we're not going to see that happen. Ironically, Rudy was traded for who would be the best defender he has played with ever by a long shot. So there's definitely some irony in that player being Jared Vanderbilt. But right now, the question that I have about the Jazz is, are they actually going to attempt to be a semi-winning basketball team? Because now that they have all this draft capital, it automatically makes it less important that they're a bad team. But at the same time, like, the Timberwolves will probably be pretty good going forward, and that's something we'll talk about in a second. So I don't know if I don't know how patient Donovan Mitchell is going to be with being on a losing team trying to get high draft picks. I don't know if that's something that Donovan's really going to be cool with for an extended period of time. And let's say fast forward 2 seasons and this Jazz team still doesn't have any significantly improved prospects from where they were last year. There's a real shot that Donovan Mitchell's like, you know what, I think I'm done with this shit. I think fuck this. I think I'm done. So I don't know how big of a window the Utah Jazz actually have to convince Donovan Mitchell to stay here long term, and how much of a window they have to put together a team that would be able to convince him to stick around. Because it's not like Utah has a lot going for it outside of just being a good basketball team to entice him to stay there. So if they're going to be bad and he wants to be a marketable superstar, as most young players do, that's going to be a little bit of something to watch out for. And I guarantee you over the next couple of years, not that we haven't seen the rumors already, but we're especially going to see Donovan Mitchell as one of those players that is constantly in trade rumors. I imagine it will be similar to how Bradley Beal is constantly in trade rumors. It's just simply like, this guy is on a bad team and we know he's good. How much longer is he going to put up with this? Maybe he takes the Bradley Beal route, and as long as you pay him, he doesn't really give a shit, which I completely respect. But anyways, I think that's the thing to look out for with the Utah Jazz. And on the Timberwolves side of things, this is very interesting because we're going to get to see Karl-Anthony Towns playing the 4 spot. This is, at least pound for pound, the biggest front court in the NBA, because you're going to have Jaden McDaniels playing the 3 as well. And he's like 6'10", or Kyle Anderson is like 6'9". One of those two are going to be the starting forward. And Cat is a center size-wise, but he's never really been a defensive guy. Now, his defense has been underrated the past couple of years. He's gotten to the point of not being terrible, but of course, being able to have Rudy Gobert there is going to be a huge upgrade. The only thing that is in question is going to be what is Cat going to be capable of on the perimeter, because he's going to have to deal with bad perimeter matchups more so than ever. But I do want to say, I feel like a lot of people have automatically assumed that with these two players on the floor together, that Cat is like automatically going to be guarding the forwards. When, let's say the Timberwolves play a team that has a forward who can't really shoot like that, like is just not a great outside threat. I'm trying to think of an example right now, but it's not really there. There's a chance that Rudy Gobert would actually guard that player and Cat would guard the center, so that Rudy Gobert can be more effective as an off-ball player because he's not worried about the non-shooter. Basically, if there's a non-shooter on the floor, because the Timberwolves have the size that they do now with basically 2 centers on the floor, so long as you're not facing an elite center, you can just put Cat on that center, and then now Rudy Gobert can take advantage of that lack of shooting far more than the Timberwolves were ever capable of before, or really any team is capable of. Offensively, I'm not too worried about the fit. Cat is a great passer. He's going to be stretching it out to the perimeter. There will probably be a few instances where there's some stepping on the toes, just because even though Cat is a very capable shooter, he is still very much an inside presence. At the end of the day, I am confident that the offense is going to be fine, and the defense is going to be a huge upgrade. And another thing worthy of mention with Rudy Gobert, specifically defensively, I don't know how much Karl-Anthony Towns is going to make Gobert have to like compensate for him, but at least looking at the rotation defenders that the Timberwolves have after, like by comparison to the Utah Jazz of the past couple of years, like Kyle Anderson's a really good defender, Jaden McDaniels is a really good defender, Anthony Edwards is improving, D'Angelo Russell is still somehow unknown to be actually a pretty damn good defender. And there's some guy on the bench whose name is escaping me right now. But either way, the point is, there is some more deep perimeter defenders on this team than Rudy has typically dealt with in his career. So I will be interested to see if that will allow Rudy to be the best version of himself defensively. And if that's the case, and you can manage to be like a top 10 offense with Cat, D'Lo, and Anthony Edwards, then you're looking at a pretty goddamn good team. Now, I don't know that I would quite put them in the contender category, but good playoff team for sure, and I think a fun team as well. I understand that Rudy Gobert has this really high contract and that the Timberwolves gave up a lot of assets to get him, but ultimately I believe this is going to be the right move for them, at the very least in the short term. It might be something that by 2029, when Rudy Gobert is probably fucking retired and the Jazz now have your lottery pick, that might kind of suck, but at least for the next couple of seasons, I think this move is going to look like a good one, And really, I'm more curious on the Jazz end of things, how they're going to convince Donovan Mitchell to stick around long term. But anyways, that's my thoughts on that trade, and goodbye.